Hey everyone, Shiny Key with Cravian, and in this video we're going to be looking at replacing the bow animations in ACF. I'm going to be using the Essential Bow and Arrow Animation Pack by Spacebar Anim if you would like to follow along. I've already added this to the project, so it is all ready. So let's jump right in. Once we get it added, we're going to have our new folder essential animation right here, bow and arrows. So the first thing we need to do is we need to make our skeleton compatible so that the animations are actually going to show up. So we're going to come into the bow and arrow pack and then come into the demo, and we need to find the mannequin. Now I'm going to pick the UE5 mannequin because I work in most of the UE5 animations. You could also do the UE4 mannequin if yours is a UE4. But for the purposes of this, we're going to use the UE5. I'm going to come into the meshes, and I'm going to open up the skeleton. All right. And in the Retarget Sources tab, we're going to come down to Compatible Skeletons. We're going to add Skeleton, and we're just going to add the ACF UE5 Mannequin Skeleton and save that skeleton. That way they all show up. All right. Now, what we need to do, we need to open up the character that you are using. In this case, I'm just going to be using the Ultimate Player blueprint since it is the UE5. Well, to make things easier, we'll do the UE4 one. Just so you can see like the anim retargeting actually is working on this, and that's what is loaded by default in the game mode if we come into world settings. And it is using the UE4 version. So we're going to use the UE4 version. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down into the actions component, and we're going to open up our moveset actions, and we want to open up the bow actions, as this is what we're going to be working with first. So the first one that we want to replace are the shoot action. Now, I'm going to copy these, and you should as well. So we will make we'll just copy this in the content for right now. Copy here. And I'll go ahead and rename this. Okay. We're going to open this up and we're going to see how it is set up. So by default, we have a default, we have a loop, and then we have an end. So the default is kind of the wind up into it. The loop is what animation is going to be playing when you are holding or waiting for the fire. And then the end is going to be actually firing the bow. Now in this one, this animation actually grabs a new arrow. We're going to separate this behavior a little bit. We're going to treat it more like how the rifles work and how the pistols work. And we'll show how that works a little bit. So we need to start off by replacing these animations. For the charge shoots, the initial wind up here, I am going to use the animation and I'm going to search for it. Feel free to use other ones. This pack comes with 3 different styles, A, B, and C. I'm going to be using the A style of it just because I like it being a little bit, I guess, more tight instead of like it's more up in the shoulders rather than you having it being hip fired or down below. So I'm going to use the A, but feel free to use whichever one you want. So we're going to search for UE5 because we want the UE5 animation. I'm going to search for draw A, and we want the begin sequence one. I'm going to replace that. So now we have this animation. If I actually move the right thing, I always get that. So we have this animation where now in this one, just kind of as a caveat, we're gonna assume that the player is already aiming the bow at this point, and I'll kind of show you why that is. I just think it looks a little bit nicer. But the draw is specifically we're in kind of a relaxed aim stance, and then we're actually pulling back to prepare a shot. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna move this loop over here so it lines up, so that when we play this, we're just gonna go right into the loop. All right, for the loop, what we're going to do is we're going to search for UE5 again, draw the A version, and this time we're gonna use the looped animation. And let's see if I can grab this end here. We're gonna grab that and put that to the end. So now we have this pull back, and then we hold. And we're just going to keep looping with with that until we release it. For the release action, we are going to use V5 release A. There we go. Come into the loop, and if I preview the end here, we release it. Okay. So that is the animation that we have. Now we need to replace that within the actions. So I'm going to hit this little search button to show it in the content browser, and then we're going to replace the shoot the shoot animation or the shoot montage with the one that we just created. If I come in here again, pull back, and we're going to see that it is playing the animation. Now, currently it doesn't look very good, but it is playing the animation, so we need to clean up a few more things here before this is actually working for us. So the next thing we're going to open is we're going to, in this specific case, we're going to actually open up the character's animation blueprints. Or I'm sorry, moveset blueprints, but you're going to want to be copying them. I copied and made my own animation blueprints. You don't have to. I would definitely, at a minimum, though, copy over and make your own overlays. So the way we're going to find that is we're going to open up this humanoid ABP. And over in the top here in the details, we're going to come down to our movesets, our overlay layers, and we're going to find our bow overlay layer. And I'm going to open that up. I'm going to edit this one directly. Don't do as I do, do as I say, as the saying goes. Make your own copies of these blueprints. Otherwise, they will get overwritten if you do any updates from the plugin. Copy them, make children of them, that sort of thing. Like I said, I have at this point copied over the ABP, and I've made a new overlay. And you can copy these, by the way, and use them as is, and just replace them as you go. Kind of like what we're going to do here. All right, so for the aim offset and overlay, let me pull up my notes on my other side just to make sure that I don't miss anything here. Pull up my bow overlay. Okay, so for the aim offset, we're going to be using UE5, aim offset, aim, A. Like I said, I'm going with the A animations just because I think they look a little bit nicer. If you want a different style, more power to you. We're going to open up these. We're going to open up everything but block. You can specify a block. I didn't. Just, I guess, a stylistic choice like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to block with a bow like that, but feel free to put in a block animation as well. I believe this pack actually does include some blocking animations. For the idle animation, we're going to use UE5. I actually am going with the B on the idle animation. Because the B animation is actually kind of holding the bow in this kind of relaxed state. You can go with the A. The A is just keeping the bow more at the side. So if you prefer having it more on the side, that's fine. I chose the B animation. Now, for the blend time, we're going to set this to 0.2, and the blend alpha is going to be 1, because when we're in this idle animation, we want full control over the upper body. Now, you'll see in a little bit here, these blend times actually do matter. These blend times are how fast you're going to transition to aiming. So if you want like a really instant snap, or if you want a really fast pulling your bow up, you want to lower these values. If it's going too fast for you and you would prefer more of a gradual raising of the player's arms, you'll want to increase these values. So for the aim overlay, we're going to want to use a static animation of aim offset, aim, UE5 underscore aim offset underscore aim, and then we're going to pick the A. And then we want center. Is it forward center? What is it called? Forward center. Okay. I'm used to it being CC for center. but this pack calls it forward center, and we're gonna pick the non-additive one. And the reason we picked this animation is this static animation is exactly in the spot where the loop pose is for the montage. So it lines up. So whatever you picked for the montage is the same kind of aim offset you want to pick here. So if you preferred the B style or the C style, you're going to want to mimic that for this one here so that it actually lines up for you and you don't get any weird jumps on it. Now, for the blend time, I went with 0.4. That's what I decided that I liked a lot. For the blend alpha, we're gonna set this to 2. I'm gonna keep it at 1 for right now, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why we changed this. So once we save that, for me, I don't need to do anything because it's already in my overlay. But if you made your own overlay, you're gonna want to remember to change the overlay over here. So let us go into pull the bow out. So you can see it's doing that aim offset a little bit better. And if we pull back, you can see that pullback animation now. So that's with a 1. Now if we set this to 2, then we go into it. And animations are you're gonna have to play around with a lot of them to make them look decent. But you can see now obviously the bow is not oriented properly for this particular, but you can see we have more, the animation is taking more precedence over our upper body stance. So rather than having a more relaxed stance, we are now more closely following what is in the animation. And you can see that it looks a little nicer here as well. Just like that. All right. Now, we're going to fix, because as of right now, you can, if you were a responsible player, you could just kind of let the animation play through right now. But what you'll find is you can also kind of machine gun the bow, which is, it doesn't look very nice and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a bow. So let's go ahead and change that next. And the way we're going to change that is we're going to do in two areas. So the first one, we'll do the action first. So in the charged shoot action here, we're going to go ahead and search for that and open that up. Again, I would make a copy of this. I would not change, because this is a plugin level that we will be changing. So you're going to want to copy this, but we're going to open up the charge shoot action here. And again, let me follow along with my notes over here. Just clean a little bit of stuff on my side. Okay, so the first part of this, or the second part of this, kind of depending upon where you're looking at, is having a delay between shots take into effect. So we'll do that first, and we'll make it configurable. That way, if you are on this bow action screen, you'll actually see it pop up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new variable, and I'm going to call this is shoot enabled. And then off of our event action started and event action ended is where we're going to be working. So on action started, we're going to pull off, and we're going to get. We're actually not going to get a delay. That's in the second part. We're going to set is shoot enabled, and we're going to set this to false, so that the player cannot shoot anymore. On the action ended, we're going to pull off, and we're going to add a delay node here. Pull this down to give us a little more room. And then we're going to set shoot enabled to true. Now I'm going to pull off of the duration here, and I'm going to promote this to a variable, and I'm going to call this time between shots, and I'm going to make this instance editable. That way, I'm going to set the default value to 5 over here. But just to show you, if we come back over to our bow actions, you'll now see we have this timed between shots. Now, I almost forgot, but the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that is shoot enabled is defaulted to true. Otherwise, you won't be able to shoot at all. And you obviously want them to be able to shoot the first time. So we're going to keep this at 5 seconds. Actually, we're going to change this to 2 seconds. I found it with these animations, 2 seconds works really well. You're going to want to play them around if you're using different animations and kind of depend upon the feel that you have. I found that 2 seconds works pretty well and feels fairly comfortable in just kind of my tuning and practicing. So once we get that set up, we need to come over to the can execute function. For me, it's already open, but if it's not open for you, it's under functions, ACF, can execute action. We're going to pull this down, and we're going to add an additional clause to this can shoot. So we're going to drag off, and we're going to put and. We're going to drag the response of the and into our return node, and we're going to pull in our is shoot enabled variable. Okay, we're going to save that. Now for me, let's see if it works here. It does not. So for me, this was not working, because as you can see, that appears to do nothing for some reason. You can still spam fire it. So this is where the second part comes in that we're going to have to address. So once we get that done. The next part is we're going to want to open up our bow. So I'm going to search for ACF bow, because that's what is equipped here. And we're going to do a little bit of configuration in here. So for the shooting component, we're going to come into the shooting component, and we're going to come into ammo. And as I said, we're going to treat this more like an assault rifle. So we're going to check this uses magazine box, and we're going to set this to 1 because it's 1 arrow per shot, and then they have to reload. Now, we also need a reload action. If you are starting with the sample, you already have a reload action for rifles. Like, this already works for you. It's already triggering up the reload action for you when you either click or press the R key by default. So we don't actually need to do anything for the action, but what we do need to do is add a reload action to our reload function up here. So in our bow actions, action set again, I'm going to add a new index to this array. Then this is going to be actions dot reload. Probably would have been quicker to just search that. This is going to be a type reload action. And I'm actually keeping the defaults. I'm not messing with anything down here. The defaults are fine. We do, however, need a montage. So what I did was I looked for the rifle reload. Yeah, this one, the reload rifle hip, and copied that. This looks like a UE4 animation, so maybe this won't work. Yeah, this actually might not work. So I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to duplicate my bow shooting anime in a montage. And I'm going to name this tutorial bow reload. Like so. Save. Open up my bow reload. And the only section that we need is the default, and we only need 1 animation. So we're going to change our animation. I am using UE5 reload back. Because again, this one lines up very closely with the animations we're already using. So as you can see, it starts with us releasing the arrow, and it pulls an arrow from the back. That's actually... Oh, I remember why. Yeah, okay, so for some reason, I don't know why, but you can see it's really quick, right? And if you like this, that is fine. There's more to the animation, and for some reason, it ends off early. If you'd like the rest of the animation, if you just click the animation here, You can see where it says end time. Change that to 1. You can see that the animation is now a little bit longer, and we have this extra. If I get rid of my montage section, there we go. We have this extra kind of twisting action as we notch the arrow and put it in, and then we just have an ACF notify exit action at the end. I'm going to search for this again, so we can select it in content browser. In our bow actions, I'm going to change my montage to the one that we were just in. And now, if I come back over here, I pull out, you can see that I need to reload. If I click, I will reload it. Click. And I can shoot. Now, you're still going to have that issue a little bit, but you can see we can't spam fire it anymore. And because of that step we did before of the time between shots, you have to wait 2 seconds before you can pull the bow back. Now, this is fine. You do have to click every time that you want to reload. If you don't want that and would prefer to have it be a little bit more automatic, I will show you a way to make that a little more automatic. So, I'm going to do, pull out my notes again off screen because I vaguely remember the nodes that I'm going to show you here. We're going to come into where our action is for shooting, which I believe is in full player. It is. So in our handle, no, that's right. There isn't a handle shoot function. It is actually an input action. So I'm going to have to look around for it a little bit. One more up. It is one more up. So in our input action where we have the handle shoot, so we do have a handle shoot function here. And as you can see, if we come into here, if the weapon needs a reload, we're automatically calling the reload action. So that is how, if your weapon needs a reload, clicking again auto reloads your weapon. That's how that is working there. However, if you want it to automatically happen, what we can do is we can, on the completed, where we already have the release sustained action, we can grab our equipment and inventory component. We can get the current main weapon, which should be our bow. We can cast this to a ACF ranged weapon. And then off of the ACF ranged weapon, we're going to grab the shooting component. And this is kind of a quick and dirty way to do it. Maybe there's a better way on it, but this is the way I came up with to make it work for bows, but not make it break if you do end up having a rifle in your game, or you do end up having a pistol, or maybe a crossbow that fires multiple times. This is so it won't automatically reload after every shot. This kind of stops that action, but still gives you that functionality. So I'm going to pull off of the shooting comp, and I'm going to get ammo magazine. And I'm going to see if the ammo magazine is equal to 1. Because if it's equal to 1, then we need reloading every shot is necessary. So if it is equal to 1, we're going to just because I'm lazy, we're going to copy this reload action right here, like so. We're going to call trigger action reload, like that. And now when we come in, pull back. Interesting. Something up here. Let's see what I did. Did notice this at one time, and it's possible it's just out of curiosity. I'm gonna play in client and see if maybe it's not work. This method isn't working standalone for some reason. Nope, it seems to be the same functionality. Okay, well, let's play around with this a little bit. Try adding a delay because I think when I initially did my testing, a delay was necessary. I'm not sure why it was necessary because it's not necessary for me right now. Yeah, it is not working, so I might have to do a follow up on this. This is how I have it in my other project, and it's working. It's working fine for some reason. Let's see if maybe this logic is what's breaking it. Perhaps possible that logic is not working correctly for some reason. Yeah, I am going to have to. If I come up with a follow up with that, I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm not sure why that does not work in a fresh pro. Oh, you know what? It might be. Hang on, I think I might know why. Ah, okay. All right. So, nope, that was my bad. I missed one other setting that I have. So I'm gonna hook this back up. I just noticed this from my notes that delay will pull off. So in this particular function, we want to set the priority on the reload of this to highest. That way it immediately takes precedent after we're out of the animation. So we're going to pull back, and we're going to see it auto reloads. Pull back, and auto reloads. Pull back, and auto reload. And like I said, you can mess around a little bit with the timing, with the disabling and enabling it, and the speed at which you are auto reloading, or whether you auto reload at all. But that is working for us. Now, again, the bow is going to look a little bit weird because the bow has sockets that are based on the animations that come with Ultimate Sample. You're going to want to go and actually orient the socket and the hold to your particular character and bow animations. But that about wraps that up. That is for the bow and swapping the animations out. If you have any questions, as always, please let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.